Thought I would do a quick little demonstration of what an online class looks like because there was even an article in the Globe yesterday talking about what an online class looks like and the decision for parents to send their children to school and so on. And I think the idea of online learning is such a contentious issue as it is. So I just wanted to show people what we're talking about. I think it's important to have information. Online classes by Mr. Mac. Hey, that's me. Let's take a look at a typical virtual class, and they're not entirely horrible. I'm going to show you a class that uses Brightspace, which is their learning platform, their online learning platform. Google Docs, my teaching website, Mr. Mac Online, and Initiative. The students are being called on more than ever now to take responsibility for their education. And that's where a lot of things fall short because it is a challenge for each of us to motivate, and especially for teenagers. A virtual class is not online education. Online classes are exclusively online content. Students are self-directed without a teacher. The goal of online education is to replicate the in-person experience as much as possible through a screen. So a teacher is guiding the class, and that's what I do. I try to anyways. There really hasn't been a lot of discussion on how to create an online portal, and I know that people above the classroom would disagree. There have been PD sessions and so on. However, they all take place during class. So for teachers who are teaching classes, it is a challenge. And since the online classroom environment is really time consuming, the ability to go to these classes is a challenge. There is no time for in-servicing. So what I have on my Brightspace page is there's something for announcements. And again, students will have something that looks a bit different. This is just my portal. And on my announcement every week, I do a bit of a schedule. So we've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This is last week, of course. And the students know, and I tell them, it may look like this, it may not. We start from a framework because a lot of things can happen. And I may think something takes a certain amount of time and it takes either less or more. So we're always going to be flexible. There are always the instruction here. We meet on Google Meet, and I give the code. Oh, there it is. This schedule also refers to or is complemented by a document on Google Docs. And what I do for each day is I have 2 or 3 or 4 little questions, check-ins throughout the day. And of course, we're talking, but it's not always about me talking, it's about the students. So I do start the class every day with a welcome, an attendance question. In this case, it's a welcome back dad joke. Write your best dad joke here. They were terrific. When does a dad joke become a dad joke? When it is apparent. And throughout the class, I'm going to have them, because it's 2.5 hours, I'm going to have them check in several times. It may be, for example, on this day, just tell me your response to the COVID shutdown. And then I have them share with the class. So they're interacting with each other. They're listening to each other. They're also getting practice using a microphone, hopefully using their camera. And of course, I don't push them to use I encourage them to take that risk, but I don't push them hard because I don't know what's happening in the background at their home. So if they use the chat to share, that's fine too. And you'll have a wide range of students and their comfort online. I always tell them, I will not force you to put your camera and mic on, but I want to give you the opportunities and the experience so you have that moving forward. We hear that a lot of job interviews are online. The world is online. So yeah, I want to give them that skill, or at least the opportunity to develop that skill. I may even have a little question throughout the period before we get back to set design. And of course, we had been doing set design prior to the break. So we've already done some assignments. They've already looked at this webpage on Mr. Mac Online, 7 different parts of it with some additional reading. And we go through this throughout different times of a week or in a period. Of course, they're not going to sit down and read these 8 pages of this page, this web page in one shot, but I'll have them refer to different parts here or there. And I may even have them give them 10, 15, 20 minutes to read, for example, the last part, some additional reading. And then they come back to this doc and they'll just discuss this statement. The audience doesn't come to look at the set, but that doesn't mean the set designer's job is easy. So again, they're just reflecting and they're talking in kind of a really casual way. Throughout the week, we might even do some things about Greek theater. If we talk about Greek theater, for example, just list 3 things. Or on a different day, it's, give me 5 parts of the Greek stage. So these are just small kind of almost incidental questions, and they're very informal. But as the week progresses, there's a document where they have questions to answer and to explore, and they refer directly back to the Mr. Mac Online webpage and the discussion we've had. But before they even get to this doc, they have probably, if they've been listening and engaging, they've probably addressed most of the questions just by listening in this document. And when I ask students to tell me 3 things about Greek theater, something they learned, or if I asked them just to talk about the proscenium stage, which is where we have class in our school, in our cafetorium. They have addressed so many of these questions before even looking at the document in a really informal way. And that's how they can engage. And throughout the period, throughout the week, they're going to have different web pages. We talk about set design, of course, but there is a set design project we're working on where they're going to make something similar to this. They've all been given materials to create this modular set. This is a modular set of wall theatrical flats and a riser, and they're going to make something. I've got on my webpage pictures of a former student's assignment showing magnets on a fridge and I believe sushi and or cookies. They're going to choose from a play that actually exists in the real world, and they're going to answer 7 questions. We've already discussed these questions. What is the space you're trying to recreate in the time period and so on. What materials to demonstrate the space and texture. Metaphorical elements, which is so much fun in the theater. Throughout the week, of course, aside from the web page, they also have little assignments here or there where there's a Google Doc, for example. This is pictures of a set we built in person prior to the break, and we created a ground plan, which is a set designed from a bird's eye view, and we put the set together, but they don't have access to it right now online, so they're going to take a look at these pictures and draw a ground plan from memory along with what we've got here. They can do it quite easily because each theatrical flat is 4 feet wide, so they know the exact dimensions of this, and they can try to figure out the spatial element of how things are actually angled on stage. We talk about audience viewing lines and so on. We talk about Greek theater again. I showed these questions. They've probably been answered prior to assigning the document, and of course there's a link to the document right on this page. There's our Greek theater webpage. All pictures on my webpage are a link. There are videos. I try to make it as dynamic as possible. I try to recreate what is actually in the textbook at school and the handouts and so on at school. I try to replicate that as much. The discussion, of course, the language is formal, but it's also colloquial in some ways because I am talking to them. And I try to always relate things back to school. This image is very similar to an image that actually appears on one of the books we use at school. Unfortunately, in the online world, we don't have permission to post textbooks and without having the copyright license, and I am not interested in superseding that. I'm interested, of course, in authors and artists getting paid for their work. So the challenge is you really have to create everything new. I connect everything, by the way, to school with my logo, which is a dramatic arts mural that is painted. It's right across from our drama studio door. So whenever they go onto the web page, whatever page it is, they are going to see that connection back to school. And of course, this is the miniature set, a model, a diorama that they're building. They're not going to be able to do this, although maybe they are. However, everything from the web page also appears on a document for them to fill out. And these are blocks where they can complete their answer. That's not a great answer. So really what I want to get at is, the online world is not the best way for students to learn. But that doesn't mean it's all awful, and that doesn't mean it should be thrown out. We can engage with each other. Teachers can engage students. They can engage us. They can engage each other as well through a screen. And it can happen quite meaningfully, and I think in an authentic way. So there you go. Online classes by Mr. Mac.